everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at precision medicine. So, healthcare that's tailored to you based on your DNA. We've got some really cool research excerpts here that go into how all this works.
Yeah, it's really fascinating.
And we'll also be looking at some real-world examples that'll really make you feel like you're looking into the future. Imagine being able to know your disease risks way in advance, or even having treatments that are designed just for you based on your genes.
Yeah, it's a pretty revolutionary concept, really. I mean, precision medicine is all about shifting away from this one-size-fits-all approach that we're used to.
Right. It's like instead of just buying a suit off the rack, you're having it custom made.
Exactly. So rather than just reacting to illnesses, after they appear, precision medicine is all about being proactive, using your genetic blueprint to maybe even prevent diseases.
Wow. Okay. So how do our genes actually reveal these hidden health risks then?
Well, through analyzing your DNA. Scientists can identify specific variations in your genes that might make you more susceptible to certain diseases. For example, you've got the BRCA1 and BRCA2 genes. Certain mutations in these genes, they can increase the risk of breast and ovarian cancers.
Oh, wow. So if someone knows that they have these mutations, does that mean that they can be more proactive about their health?
Absolutely. They might choose to have more frequent screenings, think about preventative measures, or even explore targeted therapies. It's really about taking control and making informed decisions about your health.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And speaking of targeted therapies, isn't that a huge part of precision medicine, getting those treatments designed just for you?
You got it. By understanding how your genes affect how your body processes and responds to medications, we can create these therapies that are much more effective and have less side effects.
That's great. So is there like a real-world example of where this is already happening?
Oh yeah, definitely. Let's take a look at Herceptin. It's a drug that specifically targets the HER2 gene in certain types of breast cancer. It's been incredible, shrinking tumors and really improving survival rates, all while causing fewer side effects than, say, traditional chemotherapy.
So it's kind of like a guided missile going straight for the cancer cells.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. And there's more. Genetic testing can even pinpoint the exact mutations that are driving cancer growth, leading to therapies like PRP inhibitors for cancers with those BRCA mutations. Is really revolutionizing cancer treatment.
It's amazing, but all this personalized healthcare, I'm guessing it relies pretty heavily on data.
Oh, absolutely. Data is really the foundation. You might remember the Human Genome Project. It took like over 10 years to map the entire human DNA sequence, just generating this huge amount of data. And now we've got these massive databases like the UK Biobank, containing genetic and health information from literally hundreds of thousands of people.
Wow, that sounds like an absolute treasure trove of information.
It really is.
Yeah.
And researchers are using this data to identify patterns and predict disease risk with incredible accuracy. They're even using all these sophisticated algorithms to analyze this data, discovering what we call biomarkers. These are kind of like genetic fingerprints that can tell us a lot about your health.
Okay, so we're not just talking about predicting diseases. We're talking about catching them early on. That's amazing. But where do we go from here? What does the future hold for precision medicine?
Oh, the future is so exciting. There are so many emerging trends that are going to shape this field in some really incredible ways.
So what kind of trends are we talking about? I've heard buzzwords like next generation sequencing and liquid biopsies. I don't really know what they mean, though.
Well, next generation sequencing, that allows us to map out entire genomes faster and cheaper than ever before. And then you've got liquid biopsies. They're completely changing how we detect and monitor diseases. They can actually identify cancer cells or disease markers through a simple blood test. No surgery needed.
Wow. So instead of those invasive biopsies, you could just get diagnosed with a blood test.
That's the goal. And then, of course, there's artificial intelligence and machine learning. These are becoming so important for analyzing data, predicting risks, and even developing new drugs and therapies.
Hold on. AI is getting involved in healthcare now, too. It's kind of scary and really fascinating at the same time. So what role is AI actually playing?
It's not about robots replacing doctors. It's about giving doctors these powerful tools to make better decisions and provide better care. Think about AI algorithms. They can analyze medical images like X-rays and MRIs, maybe even more accurately than humans can, or even virtual assistants that can monitor your health in real time.
Oh, wow. So it's kind of like having a super-powered medical team working behind the scenes to keep you healthy. But this all sounds incredibly advanced. Is this really the future of healthcare?
It absolutely is. And it's not just about treating diseases anymore. Precision medicine is expanding into things like personalized nutrition and lifestyle recommendations. Imagine using your genetic information to create a diet and exercise plan that's optimized just for you.
That's really incredible. It feels like we're moving towards a future where healthcare is truly personalized and proactive.
You got it. And while there are still challenges to overcome, the potential benefits are just enormous.
I'm sure there are. But speaking of challenges, what are some of the hurdles that precision medicine faces as it continues to grow?
One of the biggest challenges is making sure that precision medicine benefits everyone, not just a select few. Access and affordability are some key issues that really need to be addressed.
Yeah, that makes sense. If those genetic testing and targeted therapies are only available to people who can afford them, then we're just going to create a bigger gap in healthcare.
Absolutely. We need to make sure that everyone benefits,
Hmm.
regardless of their socioeconomic background. And then there's the issue of data privacy and security. With all this personal genetic information being collected, we need to make sure that people's privacy is protected.
Right. Data privacy is a huge concern. People are worried about who has access to their data and how it's being used.
I understand. And that's why we need to be very transparent and really consider all the ethical implications as this field keeps advancing. We need to make sure these tools are used responsibly.
This has been a really incredible overview of precision medicine, and it feels like we've only scratched the surface.
We really have. There's so much more to explore.
Well, listeners, we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive into precision medicine. But stick around. We'll be right back to dive into some incredible real-life examples of how precision medicine is already changing lives.
Welcome back, everyone. Before we move on, I just want to reiterate something that we touched on earlier. As we get more into the potential of precision medicine, it's really important that we remember to use this technology ethically and make sure that everyone can benefit.
I completely agree. It's not just about the science, but about how it affects people's lives. But I'm really excited to hear about how precision medicine is already making a difference. So what are some real-world examples that get you excited?
Oh, there are so many inspiring stories out there. One that comes to mind is cystic fibrosis. It's a genetic disorder that affects the lungs and digestive system. Treatment for this used to focus on just managing the symptoms. But now, thanks to precision medicine, there are medications like Evacaftor that actually target the specific genetic defect causing the disease.
So instead of just treating the symptoms, we can now actually tackle the root cause.
It's pretty amazing. It's completely changed things for patients with cystic fibrosis, really improving their lung function and quality of life. And we're seeing similar breakthroughs in other areas too, especially in cancer treatment.
Like those PIRP inhibitors we talked about earlier, which are specifically designed for cancers with the BRCA mutations. It's amazing how they can zero in on the weaknesses of those cancer cells.
Exactly. And this targeted approach is being used for more and more types of cancer. As we learn more about the genetic drivers behind tumor growth, it's really changing how we treat cancer.
Yeah, it really is. It seems like precision medicine isn't just about treating diseases, but also about preventing them in the first place.
Absolutely. Imagine someone with a family history of heart disease. Genetic testing could show that they have a predisposition to high cholesterol, allowing them to work with their doctor on a personalized plan. Maybe that includes lifestyle changes, early screenings, or even medication to manage their risk.
So it's like having a sneak peek into your future health, giving you the power to be proactive and stay healthy.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just predicting disease. It's also about knowing how your body will react to certain medications. That's where pharmacogenomics comes in.
Pharmacogenomics. I remember that word from earlier. Can you remind me what that is again?
Sure. Think of it as personalized medicine for your medications, basically. It uses your genetic info to predict how your body will respond to certain drugs. This means doctors can choose the best medication and dosage for you.
So it's like taking all the guesswork out of prescribing medication.
Yeah. And it can help avoid potential side effects. This is especially important for medications that have a narrow therapeutic window, where even a small change in dosage can have a big impact.
This is all so fascinating, but I have to ask about access and affordability. It seems like all this could be really expensive. And I worry that it could create a healthcare divide where only people who can afford it get to benefit.
That's a valid concern for sure. I mean, precision medicine is still pretty new, and those costs associated with genetic testing and targeted therapies can be high. But as the technology improves and research expands, we expect those costs to go down, making these advancements more widely available.
So it's a work in progress. But the goal is to make sure everyone benefits.
Exactly. There are already things happening to make this happen. Some health insurance plans are now covering genetic testing for certain conditions, and researchers are constantly looking for more affordable targeted therapies.
That's good to hear. It's really important that everyone has the chance to benefit from this.
I totally agree. Precision medicine is all about empowering people to take charge of their health.
We've covered so much today, from the science to real-world examples. But before we finish up, I have one more question. What about the future? Where do you see this field going in the next 5, 10, 20 years?
That's a great question. The possibilities are pretty mind-blowing. I think we'll see genetic testing become a lot more common as costs come down and technology gets better.
You think routine genetic screening at birth could become normal?
It's definitely possible. Imagine being able to see potential health risks right away and take steps to prevent them.
Wow, that would be amazing. What about the treatments? Do you think we'll see even better targeted therapies with even fewer side effects?
Definitely. We're already seeing huge progress in areas like immunotherapy and gene editing.
Hmm.
These have huge potential for treating all sorts of conditions, from cancers and genetic disorders to even infectious diseases.
Gene editing. Wow, that's a whole other topic. It sounds like something out of science fiction.
It does, doesn't it? But it has so much potential for curing diseases that were once thought to be incurable. But for now, let's just acknowledge that and move on.
Okay. Besides all these advancements, what are some of the bigger trends that you see shaping the future of precision medicine?
Well, one of the most exciting trends is how artificial intelligence and machine learning are becoming such a big part of healthcare. We've already talked about how they're being used to analyze data and develop new treatments, but they can do so much more than that.
Like what?
For example, imagine having AI-powered virtual assistants that can monitor your health all the time, give you personalized advice, and even tell your doctor if something seems wrong.
So it's like having a personal health coach.
Exactly. And we're also starting to see AI-powered diagnostic tools. They can analyze things like X-rays and MRIs even more accurately than humans.
So it's not about AI replacing doctors, but more about helping them provide even better care.
Exactly. And as AI keeps getting better, we can expect even more groundbreaking things in healthcare, from discovering new drugs to creating highly personalized treatment plans.
It's amazing. But with all this focus on technology, I do wonder if we might lose sight of that human connection in healthcare.
That's a really important point. While technology is going to play a bigger role in the future, it can't replace the human touch, which is so important for healing.
So it's about finding the right balance.
Exactly. Precision medicine isn't about replacing doctors. It's about giving them the tools to provide the very best care.
It sounds like that human connection will always be at the heart of medicine.
I completely agree.
It's been so great exploring the world of precision medicine. And listeners, if you want to learn more, there are tons of resources out there, from articles and books to podcasts and documentaries.
Yeah, definitely check them out. And remember, we're just at the beginning of this. The future holds so many exciting possibilities.
So stay curious, everyone, and stay informed. And be sure to join us next time for another deep dive, where we'll explore another fascinating topic. Until then, keep learning and keep exploring. So we've talked a lot about the potential of precision medicine, but I think it's important to remember that it's still a pretty new field. And like with anything new, there are going to be some challenges.
Oh, yeah.
What are some of the things that are maybe holding precision medicine back a bit?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is that we need a ton of data, like a lot of really good quality data, to train those machine learning algorithms and to build accurate models. We need information from all sorts of people, from different backgrounds and ethnicities.
Yeah, that makes sense. If the data isn't diverse enough, the results might not be accurate for everyone.
Exactly. And this kind of ties into another important issue, which is access and affordability.
Yeah, we talked about this a little before, but it's really important. We need to make sure that everyone benefits from precision medicine, not just a select few.
Absolutely. If genetic testing and these targeted therapies are too expensive, then it's not going to be fair.
Right. It could create a system where only wealthy people can get the best healthcare.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to keep investing in research so we can develop more affordable treatments.
Okay, so we've got the data issue and the cost issue. What about ethics? Are there any ethical concerns with precision medicine that we need to think about?
Yeah, for sure. One concern is the possibility of genetic discrimination. Like, what if employers or insurance companies could see your genetic information? Could they use that against you?
That's a scary thought. Could someone be denied a job or health insurance just because of their genes?
It's a possibility. And that's why we need strong laws to protect people, to make sure that genetic information is used responsibly.
I agree. And I guess we also need to be sensitive to the fact that knowing your genetic risks could be really stressful for some people.
Absolutely. Like, what if someone finds out they have a high risk for a disease that's incurable? We need to be prepared to offer support and counseling.
It's important to remember that precision medicine is about people.
Yeah, it's not just about the science.
So as we move forward, we need to make sure that we're using precision medicine to improve people's lives.
That's the goal.
Before we wrap up, is there one key takeaway you'd like our listeners to remember about precision medicine?
I think the most important thing is to stay informed. This is a field that's changing so rapidly. Talk to your doctor. Do your own research. Ask questions.
Right. The more you know, the better decisions you can make about your own health.
Exactly.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into precision medicine. We've covered so much, and we hope you found it as fascinating as we did. It's clear that precision medicine has the potential to revolutionize healthcare. But as with any powerful tool, we need to use it wisely and ethically. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey, and be sure to tune in next time for another deep dive into a topic that's shaping our future. Until then, stay curious, keep exploring, and keep those brains buzzing.